The morning sky over New York turned black at exactly 9:47 a.m. Jake Morrison was drinking coffee on his ship when the first alien vessels appeared through the clouds. They were huge, bigger than anything he had ever seen. Each ship looked like a floating city made of dark metal and strange lights. Jake commanded the Earth defense ship Defiance. He was a good captain, but his ship was small compared to the alien monsters above. His crew looked at him with scared eyes. They all knew this day might come, but nobody was ready for ships this big. "How many?" Jake asked his tactical officer, Lisa Brooks. She was staring at her screen with wide eyes. Her hands moved fast across the controls, counting the enemy ships. 300, she whispered. "Maybe more. They keep coming through the clouds." Jake felt cold inside. The human fleet had only 47 ships ready to fight. Every vessel Earth could build in the last 10 years was here, but it was not enough. It would never be enough. The alien ships hung in the sky like dark clouds. They did nothing for 30 minutes. People on Earth looked up and waited. Some ran away from the cities. Some prayed. Some just stood there and watched. Then the aliens spoke. Their message came through every radio, every television, every phone on Earth. The voice was deep and strange, but the words were clear. "People of Earth, we are the Caltheran Empire. We have conquered 17 star systems. Your world will surrender now or we will destroy it. You have 1 hour to give up." Jake picked up his radio. His voice was steady, but his heart was beating fast. "This is Captain Morrison of the Earth Defense Fleet. We do not surrender. Come and take our world if you can." The first alien beam hit the city of Paris. The light was so bright it hurt to look at. When the light faded, half the city was gone. Just gone like it never existed. Then they hit Tokyo, then London, then Moscow. Jake's ship shook as he pushed the engines to full power. "All ships attack formation," he said into his radio. "We fight them here or we lose everything." Lieutenant Ryan Cooper, the ship engineer, ran to his station. "Captain, our weapons are ready, but I don't think they will hurt those big ships much." "We try anyway," Jake said. "Lisa, target the closest ship. Fire everything we have." The human fleet moved toward the alien ships like tiny birds attacking eagles. Their missiles and laser beams hit the alien hulls. Some damage showed, but not much. The alien ships were too strong, their armor too thick. But the aliens seemed surprised. Lieutenant Amy Taylor, who worked with communications, heard something strange on the alien radio channels. "Captain, they are talking to each other. They sound confused." "What do you mean?" Jake asked. "They keep saying things like, why do they attack and why don't they run? I think they expected us to give up." Another alien beam destroyed half of Jake's fleet in one shot. 17 ships turned into fire and metal pieces floating in space. But the remaining human ships kept fighting. They flew closer to the alien vessels, firing their weapons even when it seemed hopeless. Jake watched his friends die. Captain Miller's ship exploded when it got too close to an alien cruiser. "Commander, White's vessel lost power and drifted into an alien beam, but none of them ran away. None of them asked for mercy." Amy picked up more alien messages. "Captain, I'm hearing something important. They're talking about other worlds they conquered. They say those worlds always begged them to stop. They say, we're the first ones to choose fighting over talking." Jake understood now. The aliens were used to easy victories. They would show up with their big ships, destroy a few cities, and the planet would surrender. Nobody had ever fought back like this before. But humans were different. When someone pushed them, they pushed back harder. When someone threatened their families, they fought until they died. The aliens did not understand this. "Ryan, how much power do we have left?" Jake asked. "Not much, Captain. We're running on backup systems. Most of our weapons are damaged." Jake looked at the alien command ship. It was the biggest one, floating right in the middle of their fleet. If he could destroy it, maybe the other aliens would get confused. Maybe Earth would have a chance. "Lisa, can you get us close to that big ship?" "Yes, but we won't survive the trip. Their defenses will tear us apart." Jake nodded. He picked up the ship radio so all his crew could hear. "Listen up, everyone. We're going to ram that command ship. I know what that means. If anyone wants to leave in the escape pods, do it now. No shame in staying alive." Nobody moved. Ryan stayed at his station. Lisa kept her hands on the weapons controls. Amy kept listening to alien messages. They all looked at Jake and nodded. Then let's show these aliens what humans do when they threaten our home, Jake said. The Defiance turned toward the alien command ship. Enemy fire hit them from all sides. The ship's hull broke apart piece by piece. The lights went out. The air became thin and cold, but they kept flying forward. Amy's voice came through the darkness. Captain, the aliens are panicking. They're saying things like they're insane and why won't they stop? I don't think they've ever seen anything like this. Jake smiled even though his ship was dying around him. Good. Let's give them something to remember. The Defiance crashed into the alien command ship at full speed. The explosion was so big it lit up the whole sky. Both ships turned into fire and pieces of metal. Jake and his crew died, but they took thousands of aliens with them. The remaining alien fleet stopped attacking for a few minutes. Amy's final message sent just before the crash had reached other human ships. The aliens were afraid. They had never fought anyone who would die to hurt them back. But there were still too many alien ships. They destroyed what was left of the human fleet. Then they turned their weapons on Earth cities. New York, Los Angeles, Chicago. All the big cities became fire and smoke. Millions of people died. When the aliens finished, they sent one message to the few humans still alive. We return with the full might of the Empire, prepare for extinction. Then they left. Their ships disappeared through the clouds, leaving Earth burning behind them. But something had changed. For the first time in their long history, the Caltheran Empire had met a species that chose death over surrender. They had won the battle, but they were scared. The humans had fought like no other species before them. The aliens flew back to their empire, but they could not forget what they had seen. A small blue world where the people fought until their last breath. A place where surrender was not an option. They would return with more ships, they promised. They would finish what they started. But deep inside, some of the aliens wondered if humans might be more dangerous than they looked. After all, what kind of species chooses to fight a hopeless battle just to hurt their enemies? The answer to that question would change the galaxy forever. 2 years had passed since the aliens burned Earth cities. The sky was still gray with smoke in many places. Most of the big buildings were gone, turned to dust and broken stone. But humans were still alive, and they were still fighting. Colonel Pete Williams crawled through a tunnel deep under what used to be Denver. The tunnel was dark and cold, but it was safe from the alien ships above. Pete had been a soldier before the attack. Now he was something more. He was the leader of people who refused to die quietly. How many new people came in today? Pete asked Tony Miller. Tony was a sergeant who used to fix helicopters. Now he taught people how to fight aliens with broken glass and old hunting rifles. 15, Tony said. 3 families from the ruins of Phoenix. They walked for 2 weeks to get here. Said they heard we were still fighting. Pete nodded. Word was spreading. Even after 2 years, even after all the death, humans were finding each other. They were building something new in the dark places where aliens could not see. The Resistance had bases all over the world now. Deep caves in the mountains. Old subway tunnels under destroyed cities. Abandoned mines where people lived like their great-great-grandfathers. They grew food in hidden gardens. They made weapons from scrap metal. They raised children who had never seen a sky without alien ships. Dr. Helen Carter worked in a small room filled with broken alien machines. She used to study animals before the war. Now she studied the pieces of alien technology that Tony's fighters brought back from their raids. Her eyes were tired from looking at strange metal and weird lights, but she never stopped working. I think I found something, Helen said when Pete came to see her. She held up a piece of alien metal that glowed with soft blue light. This comes from their communication systems. It works on frequencies that vibrate through space itself. Pete did not understand all the science words, but he knew Helen was smart. Can we use it? Maybe. If I'm right, we might be able to listen to what they say to each other. Maybe even jam their signals. Pete smiled for the first time in weeks. Any advantage was good news. The aliens had put monitoring stations all over Earth, big towers that watched for human activity. When they found groups of survivors, they sent ships to kill them. The humans had learned to stay hidden, to move at night, to fight like shadows. But the aliens were getting frustrated. Pete's scouts brought back reports from all over the world. The aliens had expected humans to give up by now. Every other world they conquered had broken apart into chaos after a few months. People would fight each other for food. Governments would collapse. The aliens would come back to find empty cities and scattered survivors who were too weak to resist. Earth was different. Instead of falling apart, humans had come together. People who used to be enemies now shared food and weapons. Rich and poor lived side by side in the tunnels. Scientists worked with farmers. Soldiers taught children how to hide and fight. Nina Ross used to fly spaceships for the government. Now she flew stolen alien scouts that Tony's team had captured. She was planning something dangerous, something that might change everything. The alien patrol ship comes through Sector 7 every Tuesday at midnight, Nina told Pete. Same route, same speed. They think we're too stupid to notice patterns. You want to take it? Pete said. I want to try. If we can get one of their ships working, we can learn how they think. Maybe find out when the big fleet is coming back. Pete knew it was risky. If Nina's team failed, the aliens would know humans could plan complex attacks. They might send more ships to hunt for the resistance bases, but if it worked, they might learn something important. Take Tony and 6 fighters, Pete said. If it goes wrong, get out fast. 3 days later, Nina and her team hid in the ruins of an old shopping mall. The alien scout ship flew the same path it always did, slow and confident. The aliens inside probably thought they were safe. After all, what could humans do with their simple weapons? They found out when Tony's team hit the ship with electromagnetic pulses that Helen had built from alien parts. The ship's systems went crazy. Lights flashed on and off. The ship wobbled in the air like a hurt bird. Nina's team was ready when the ship crashed. They killed the 2 aliens inside before they could call for help. Then Nina climbed into the pilot's seat and tried to figure out how alien controls worked. This is like learning to fly all over again, she said. But Nina was good at learning new things. Within an hour, she had the ship flying again. The real prize was the ship's computer. Helen worked for days to break into the alien data files. What she found made everyone's blood run cold. They call themselves the Caltharan Empire, Helen told Pete and the other leaders. They control 1,200 worlds. Every single one gave up without a real fight. The alien files showed how the Empire worked. They would attack a world with overwhelming force, destroy a few cities, kill enough people to show they were serious. Then they would wait. Fear would do the rest of the work. Most species would panic. Their leaders would surrender to save what was left. The aliens would take the world's resources and young people to work as slaves. The broken survivors would be left with just enough to stay alive, but never enough to fight back. But look at this, Helen said, pointing to recent alien messages. They don't understand why we're still fighting. They keep sending reports back to their empire saying humans are defective or insane. Tony laughed. They think we're crazy because we won't give up. That's exactly what they think, Helen said. They've never seen anything like us before. The stolen alien ship gave them more than just information. Nina could now fly among the alien patrols without being noticed. She brought back reports from other continents. Humans were fighting everywhere. In the forests of South America, survivors used poison arrows against alien ground troops. In the mountains of Asia, fighters rolled rocks down on alien vehicles. In the deserts of Africa, nomads appeared from sandstorms to attack and disappear. The aliens had stations on every continent, but they were spread thin. They had not expected to need so many troops just to watch a beaten world. Their messages home complained about persistent human resistance and asked for more soldiers. But the best news came from deep space. Helen had learned to read alien. Long-range communications. The big alien fleet was coming back, but not for 6 months. They were gathering ships from across their empire. They wanted to make sure this time. They're bringing everything they have, Helen told Pete. Over 2,000 ships. They want to crack the planet apart so other worlds will see what happens to species who don't surrender. Pete felt cold inside, but he also felt something else. Pride. The aliens were so scared of humans that they needed their entire fleet to finish the job. That meant the resistance was working. That meant the galaxy was watching. Then we have 6 months to get ready, Pete said. 6 months to show them that humans don't know how to quit. In tunnels and caves around the world, the message spread. The aliens were coming back with everything they had. But humans would be ready. They had learned to fight in the dark. They had learned to make weapons from garbage. They had learned to hope when hope seemed impossible. Most importantly, they had learned that surrender was not a human word. The alien fleet filled the sky like a black storm. Admiral Ben Hayes stood on the bridge of his ship and counted the enemy vessels through the window. 2,300 ships, each one bigger than a city block. They had come from across the galaxy to watch Earth die. Ben's ship was called the UES Retribution. It was built from the wreckage of the old world and the dreams of the new one. Human engineers had worked day and night for 6 months to build ships that could actually hurt the aliens. They had 120 vessels ready to fight. It was not enough, but it was all they had. "Admiral, we're getting a message from the alien command ship," said Colonel Kate Davis. She was head of the new human space marines, soldiers trained to fight aliens in the vacuum of space. Her voice was calm, but her hands were tight on her weapon. The alien voice came through the speakers, deep and cold like winter wind. "Humans of Earth. I am Supreme Commander Vexitar of the Kaltharan Empire. I have come personally to watch your world burn. You have caused us great trouble with your stubbornness. Other worlds will learn from your example." Ben picked up the radio. His voice carried to every human ship in the fleet. "This is Admiral Hayes of the Earth Defense Force. We have a message for you too, Commander. Earth is not for sale. Come and take it if you can." Dr. Sam Turner worked frantically at his station. He was the man who had turned Helen Carter's discoveries into weapons. The quantum disruptor cannons were his design, built to tear apart alien ships from the inside. "Admiral, all ships report ready. The disruptors are charged and targeting enemy vessels." Ben nodded. "All ships, attack formation. Remember what we're fighting for. Remember who we are." The human fleet moved toward the massive alien armada like eagles diving at dragons. The size difference was shocking. Each alien dreadnought was 50 times bigger than the largest human ship. But the humans had something the aliens did not expect. The first quantum disruptor beam hit an alien cruiser. The ship's hull twisted and bent like it was made of paper. Pieces of alien metal spun away into space. The enemy vessel exploded in a ball of fire and strange purple light. Supreme Commander Vexitar watched from his command ship in surprise. "How are their weapons doing this? Scan their technology immediately." But there was no time for detailed scans. More human ships were firing their new weapons. Alien vessels that had seemed invincible 2 years ago were now taking real damage. Some were even destroyed. The human fleet fought with desperate courage, each ship willing to die to protect their world. Kate Davis led her space marines in boarding pods toward damaged alien ships. Her team wore new armor built from captured alien materials. They carried weapons that fired pure energy instead of bullets. "Remember your training," she told her soldiers. "These aliens have never fought anyone like us." The boarding pod smashed through alien hull plating. Kate and her marines poured into enemy ships, fighting aliens in their own corridors. The aliens were bigger and stronger, but they moved slowly and predictably. They were used to winning, through superior numbers and technology, not close combat. "They fight like machines," Kate reported to Ben over her radio. "No creativity, no improvisation. They follow the same patterns every time." But the battle was still hopeless. For every alien ship the humans destroyed, 10 more took its place. The alien fleet began forming up for a final attack, their planet-killer weapons charged with energy that made the space around them glow red. On his command ship, Supreme Commander Vexitar studied reports from the battle. Something was wrong. His computer said the humans should have surrendered. By now, every psychological profile of conquered species said they would break when faced with certain death. Why do they continue fighting? He asked his science advisor. Our scans show they cannot win. They must know they will all die. Perhaps they are malfunctioning, Commander. Some species develop mental disorders when faced with superior force. But Vextar was not satisfied with that answer. He had been conquering worlds for 300 years. He had never seen anything like this. The humans fought harder when things got worse, not easier. They seemed to get stronger when death was certain. Lieutenant Commander Alex Reed was getting ready for the most dangerous mission of his life. His job was to sneak onto the alien command ship and plant quantum charges throughout the vessel. It was a suicide mission, but Alex volunteered anyway. How many people are watching this battle? Alex asked Ben over the radio. Every enslaved world in the galaxy, Ben replied. Helen's team has been broadcasting our fight to all of them. They can see everything we're doing. Alex smiled inside his helmet. That was good. If humans were going to die today, at least other species would. See them die fighting. Maybe that would mean something. Alex's team reached the alien command ship just as the planet killers began to charge. They had maybe 20 minutes before those weapons would crack Earth like an egg. The boarding team cut through alien security, like a knife through paper. The aliens were not prepared for close quarters fighting. Supreme Commander Vextar met Alex in the ship's main corridor. The alien commander was 12 feet tall with 4 arms and skin like black metal. He carried weapons that could burn through steel, but he did not attack immediately. You will die here, human, Vextar said in perfect English. Your world will burn. Your species will be forgotten. Why do you fight when defeat is certain? Alex planted another quantum charge on the wall behind him. Because that's what humans do. We fight because it's right, not because we can win. Vextar's large eyes showed confusion. That is illogical. Survival is the highest good. All species understand this. All species except us, Alex said. He armed the final charge. We fight for things bigger than ourselves. For our children. For our future. For the idea that no one should bow to bullies. The quantum charges exploded throughout the alien command ship. Alex and his team died in the blast, but they took Vextar and 3,000 aliens with them. The massive command vessel broke apart, its pieces spinning away into the dark. But the planet killer weapons were still charging. The remaining alien fleet began moving into position to destroy Earth. Admiral Ben Hayes prepared his ships for one final attack, even though it seemed hopeless. Then something impossible happened. Signals began coming in from across the galaxy. Alien voices speaking in dozens of different languages, but all saying the same thing. If humans can fight, so can we. The Zeridian system had risen in revolt. The slave worlds of the Mantok sector were attacking their alien masters. On 100 different planets, conquered species were looking up at their oppressors and saying no, for the first time in centuries. Ben stared at his communication screens in amazement. The galaxy was on fire. Everywhere the Caltharan Empire had ships. They were under attack by species they thought were beaten forever. The alien fleet above Earth received urgent messages from across their empire. Half their forces were ordered to return home immediately. Their perfect, controlled galaxy was falling apart, and it was all because of one small blue world that refused to surrender. For the first time in 300 years, the Caltharan Empire was afraid. Captain Gary Stone watched the alien fleet break apart above Earth like a pack of wolves hearing hunters in the distance. Half the Caltharan ships were turning away from Earth, heading back to their home worlds at maximum speed. Emergency signals flooded their communications as reports came in from across the galaxy. Gary had taken command of the human fleet after Admiral Hayes died in the final assault on the alien battle line. His ship, the UES Freedom, was damaged and running on backup power, but it was still fighting. Around him, the remaining human vessels continued their attack even as the alien formation fell into chaos. Captain, we're receiving transmissions from 17 different star systems, reported Julie Barnes, his communications officer. Julie used to work at a radio station before the war. Now she was listening to the sound of a galaxy in rebellion. The Zeridian rebels have taken 3 alien outposts, Julie continued, her voice full of excitement. The Mantok colonies destroyed an entire Caltharan patrol fleet. And Captain, there's more coming in every minute. Gary could hardly believe what he was hearing. For 300 years, the Kaltharan Empire had ruled through fear. They would conquer a world, break its spirit, and leave just enough forces to keep the population under control. No one had ever fought back after the initial conquest. No one except humans. Dr. Martha Hill worked frantically at her station, monitoring alien command frequencies. She had learned their language by studying captured communications equipment. What she heard made her smile for the first time in years. "Gary, you need to hear this," Martha said. "The alien commanders are panicking. They're getting reports of uprisings on over 200 worlds. Species that have been slaves for decades are attacking Kaltharan bases with farm tools and mining equipment." The alien fleet above Earth was getting smaller by the minute. More ships received urgent recall orders and jumped to hyperspace, racing back to defend the crumbling empire. General Kethmore, who had taken command after Vexitar's death, found himself trying to hold together a galaxy with too few ships and too many rebellions. On the planet Zerida, blue-skinned humanoids who had been mining slaves for 50 years used human tactics they had learned from intercepted broadcasts. They hid in the tunnels they had been forced to dig, then attacked alien patrols with improvised explosives. When the aliens sent reinforcements, the Zeridians melted away into the darkness, only to strike again somewhere else. The four-armed Mantok people had been peaceful traders before the Kaltharan conquest. Now they turned their cargo ships into weapons, ramming alien vessels and fighting with the fury of parents protecting their children. Their leaders sent messages to Earth saying, "Thank you for showing us how to be brave." Even the insect-like Vectari, who had submitted without a fight 30 years ago, began sabotaging the factories where they were forced to work. They moved in coordinated swarms, overwhelming alien guards through sheer numbers and determination. Captain Stone received a priority message from the Kaltharan fleet commander. General Kethmore's voice was tight with something the aliens rarely felt: desperation. "Human commander, I offer you terms for surrender. Cease your broadcasts to the galaxy, and we will spare your remaining population. Continue this interference, and we will crack your world apart." Gary picked up his radio and broadcast his answer on all frequencies, making sure every species in the galaxy could hear. "General Kethmore, this is Captain Stone of the Free Earth Fleet. We don't make deals with tyrants. Every thinking being in the galaxy has the right to be free. If you want to stop the rebellions, you'll have to stop every one of them. Good luck." With that, Martha intercepted the alien response to Gary's message. "Captain, Kethmore is ordering his remaining ships to begin destroying Earth's major cities. He thinks if he kills enough humans, the other rebellions will lose hope." But it was too late for that strategy. The rebellions had taken on a life of their own. Across the galaxy, enslaved peoples were discovering what humans had always known: that freedom was worth any price, and that even the smallest person could make a difference when they refused to give up. Major Julie Barnes led the final human assault on the alien forces above Earth. Her squadron of rebuilt fighters attacked the remaining Kaltharan ships with quantum disruptor torpedoes. The alien vessels, designed to intimidate rather than fight determined opponents, began to fall one by one. "For everyone who died," Julie said, as she flew her damaged fighter into an alien cruiser. "For everyone who's still fighting." The explosion lit up Earth's sky like a new sun. When the light faded, only a dozen alien ships remained above the planet. They were surrounded by human vessels and incoming rebel fleets from across the galaxy. General Kethmore made a decision that would have been impossible for a Kaltharan commander just hours before. He ordered a full retreat from Earth. For the first time in the Empire's history, they were abandoning a conquest. But the retreating aliens found no safety in the depths of space. Rebel fleets hunted them through the star systems they had once controlled. The Kaltharan Empire, built on the idea that resistance was futile, discovered that once people learned to fight back, they never stopped. 6 months later, Gary Stone stood in what used to be the United Nations building in New York. Representatives from 47 different species sat around a table, planning the future of the galaxy. They called themselves the Free Worlds Alliance, and Earth was their unofficial capital. The Kaltharan Empire still controls about half their original territory, reported Ambassador Lisa Chen, who had become Earth's spokesperson to the galaxy. But they're losing ground every day. Species they conquered generations ago are remembering what freedom means. Dr. Martha Hill had become the Alliance's chief intelligence officer. Her job was to monitor Caltheran communications and coordinate rebel activities across the galaxy. The aliens are changing their tactics, she told the Assembly. Some commanders are trying negotiation instead of force. A few have even started freeing their slave worlds voluntarily. Gary nodded. Fear kept their empire together. Once that fear was broken, the whole system started falling apart. A delegate from the Zeridian Republic stood up. He was tall and blue with large silver eyes that had seen too much suffering. Captain Stone, my people want to know why humans fought when victory seemed impossible. Why did you choose to die rather than surrender? Gary thought about all the friends he had lost. Jake Morrison, who died ramming the first alien command ship. Pete Williams, who built the Resistance from nothing. Admiral Hayes, who led the final battle. Alex Reed, who gave his life to kill Supreme Commander Vexitar. Because surrender isn't really living, Gary said finally. When someone tries to make you a slave, you have two choices. You can accept it and hope they treat you well, or you can fight back and maybe give your children a better world. We chose to fight. The alien delegate nodded slowly. And in choosing to fight, you taught the galaxy to fight as well. Outside the rebuilt UN building, human ships prepared to depart for distant star systems. They carried supplies for rebel worlds and teachers who could show other species how to organize resistance movements. Earth had become something it never expected to be, the center of galactic freedom. Captain Gary Stone watched the ships launch into the star-filled sky. Somewhere out there, the Caltharan Empire was still fighting to hold on to its remaining territories. But every day more worlds broke free. Every day, the galaxy became a little more free. The alien starship that had first attacked Earth had found no survivors to return to their empire. Not because the humans were dead, but because they had become something the Caltharans could never understand or defeat. The spark that lit the fire of freedom across the stars.